I played mommy all the time with my mini baby dolls. I'm an only child, so they were my friends, and I would stay in my room for hours playing with them. So it was a big childhood dream of mine to be a mom, and I definitely think that the Lord planted those seeds in my heart at a young age.
I had great parents, so I wanted to be that. I saw how much fun they had with us, and I think Jamie and I were both blessed with parents that if we were a burden to them, they hid it well. We always felt like we were the light of their life. It got to that time, and my view, and probably Jamie's too, was, okay, well, now we've decided we're gonna have a family because it's what's best for us, so we're going to have a family. That began a process, a humbling process and a learning process, that there's no timing and there's no plan better than the Lord's.
My doctors gave me the news that conceiving for me would be very difficult. Medically speaking, just not a very high chance that I would be able to conceive children.
So we looked at all the options we had pretty quickly and pursued one of them that would still enable us to have our own, children, and had pretty quick success at that, and felt this immediate euphoria and relief that, okay, great, we solved this problem. And Jamie was 12 weeks into the pregnancy. I could tell by the look on the doctor's face when she looked at the sonogram, and my heart just sank. Up until that point, we had really been relying on ourselves. In that short 2 or 3 minutes, it was probably the most powerful I'd ever seen his hand work. In that set of circumstances, it was our first time where we saw how powerful he is when we call upon his name. After a couple failed efforts, we had a meeting with the doctor, and she said future attempts will be fruitless. I wrote a fairly long email to Dr. Youssef, and he said, I think this is about you all trusting the Lord's timing and stop demanding your own timing. I had, almost a revelation that I felt like the Lord had laid on my heart to discuss with Jamie, maybe we should surrender our greatest dream. That if we really trust him, that we would consciously make a decision to pursue what he wants more than what we want. I think we were in the kitchen, we literally, got down on our knees and held hands and said, since each of our own childhoods, all we've wanted is to be parents. We thought that was from you, that you had given us those desires, but we're surrendering that to you.
I had to understand that my identity was not in being a mom, but being, a child of the Lord, and being in him and the identity that he had assigned me in life. He really sort of broke me down, but he loved me through that process. Easter week, I just was really ready to just give up. And we went to Hour of Power that night. I literally ran into our friend Ginger. She just took me by the shoulders and she said, this is my favorite week to pray for miracles. And we are praying for this miracle. And it was shortly after that week, we learned that we were pregnant.
We went in for the first sonogram, which they do very early in a high-risk pregnancy like this, and they said, you have twins, and there's this other mass, but it will go away. We got 16 to 20 weeks into the pregnancy, and they said, if you don't terminate baby C now, you're very likely to lose baby A and baby B.
We knew early on that baby C would maybe not make it to term. Baby C was carried with virtually no amniotic fluid. The doctors had really encouraged Nick and I to have a selective reduction in pregnancy, which means, aborting one of the fetuses. We knew that God's plan was perfect and that these were his children. That we spoke to the doctors and just said, we understand that medically you have to give us that advice, but the Lord gave us these 3 babies and they are his, and what the Lord does with them is it's his plan, it's not ours. So we'd like for you to treat us and help us bring these 3 babies to life.
It was one of the most peaceful, happiest times of our life because we weren't trusting God with half of it or with 3/4 of it or with 99% of it. We were 100% in. We went back in 3 or 4 times every couple weeks where they would make a fairly passionate case that we strongly recommend that you terminate and have, healthy, happy, successful twins. Jamie was probably in the early part of her 7-month of the pregnancy when the doctor did the intensive sonogram, and she almost dropped the wand, and she said, I can't explain this. She said baby C's turned into a very viable embryo.
Baby C had caught up in growth with baby B and baby A. We delivered on 12/12/12. I actually held out for 2 days. My doctor really wanted them to have a cool birthday. She felt like they had worked for it. Talton was born first, Mary Floyd second, and then Charles was born third. Charles was baby C. They are all healthy and full of life, and so we have pitter-patter of 6 little feet in our house. There were days where I never thought that I would hear that sound.
He's given us these 3 kids that anytime we doubt or try to take control of the situation, we can look at them and go, you know what, that's the perfect reminder that his plan is always better than our plan. And it's probably more difficult. It's definitely going to require more faith, but it's so much better.
These are his children that he has given to us, and they're just such a reminder to me every day of his goodness. He has every detail planned out of your life, and the details that he has for your life are just more wonderful than anything that I could have ever dreamed as a little girl.